Hello everyone, welcome to another Friday Closeout. It is great to be back with you on another weekly edition of this. As I said in my midweek video, I took some time off to go on leave, take a vacation, and part of that for me means unplugging completely, or at least as much as possible, from responsibilities at work. And I consider this part of my work and part of my ministry, and so it also means unplugging from my work-related social media accounts as much as possible. But I'm back, and I am ready to kind of pick up where we left off, talking about spiritual disciplines, these habits that we can incorporate into our lives that can help us grow deeper in our faith, make us more spiritually resilient, help get us through difficult times as we develop these habits that can strengthen and nourish our souls. And the one I want to talk about today is one that, as I was sitting here reviewing the chapter in this book, The Celebration of Discipline, I realized just how hard it is to actually do this practice and to incorporate it into our lives. And it's the discipline of solitude. When was the last time you let yourself be alone? Now, I use that phrase very specifically, let yourself be alone. I'm sitting in my office right now, and I am the only one in here, but I don't feel alone. My computer is right over there, and my email is open up, and if I glance away from the camera, I can see that I have unread emails. I don't feel alone. This doesn't feel like solitude. On the other screen, Facebook is up, and I can see if there's a notification that pops up. Sitting over there is my phone, and at any given moment my phone might light up with a text message or a news alert or some notification, or my watch might all of a sudden vibrate and let me know that somebody's trying to get a hold of me. I'm alone in my office physically. There's not another person in here, but I'm not really alone. I am not practicing solitude. When have you let yourself or made yourself be alone? Just you and your thoughts, maybe a notebook or a copy of the scriptures, and you're just quiet and still before God. For me, some of the most rejuvenating times that I can think of are times of solitude, and they don't happen very often. I'm married, I've got 4 kids, our house is always chaotic, and not in a bad way. It's just the chaos that comes from having a house with 4 young kids. But there's not a lot of time for solitude. So just this last week, or a couple weeks ago, when I was on leave, one of the things that I like to do when I have the opportunity, depending on where we take time off, in this case we went to the beach, is, I like to go run on the beach. And it sounds cliche, and maybe it is, but I like to get up early, go out just as the sun is rising, and go for a run on the beach. And in this case, we were at the beach after Labor Day, after the summer crush and the crowds. And so as I go out to run on the beach, for the most part, other than just seeing a handful of other people, it was just me out there. The surf, the birds, my feet in the sand, jogging along the ocean. And there is just something about that quiet, that being alone in nature, that speaks to my soul, that rejuvenates my soul, that helps me connect and reconnect with God. Now, is there any example in Scripture of people doing this? Well, actually, yes. In fact, in the Gospel of Mark, early on in Jesus' ministry, Mark chapter 1, verse 35, Mark says, "And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed," he being Jesus, "and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed." Get this. Jesus made the conscious decision during his ministry, this incredibly busy and wanted and needed man, to step away from it all into a quiet, desolate place, separated from people, to pray, to be alone with God the Father. If Jesus needed that and wanted that, I think we need that, and we should want that too. So my challenge to you as we go into this weekend, and I know it can be difficult to come by, and you really kind of have to make a conscious effort to practice solitude, because, when Jesus went out into that desolate place, he didn't have an iPhone, he didn't have an Apple Watch. He didn't even have a book like this that he took with him. He just went by himself. All those distractions, those digital leashes that we have, weren't there with him. And so we really have to make a conscious decision to leave the phone on the desk, to take off the watch, to leave the distractions behind and disconnect and practice solitude. How are you going to practice this? It doesn't have to be anything crazy. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour or two, where it's just you and your thoughts and God. At the closing of this chapter on solitude, Foster writes this: "Don't you feel a tug, a yearning to sink down into the silence and solitude of God? Don't you long for something more? Doesn't every breath crave a deeper, fuller exposure to His presence? It is the discipline of solitude that will open the door. You are welcome to come in and listen to God's speech in His wondrous, terrible, gentle, loving, all-embracing silence." How are you going to practice that solitude and that silence? Maybe this weekend, maybe the next time you go on vacation. Try and be conscientious about planning it and incorporating it into your life. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good weekend. Go in peace.